technique I want to focus on tonight is the decoupage paper application. So this is the sheet is pretty big. In fact, it's quite large. And fortunately, for the two levels, and when I say level, I'm talking about down there. For the two levels I'm working on, this is going to work great. And I'm going to be using Dixie Belle's Satin Clear Top Coat. I did coat this with Dixie Belle's Gray Bonding Boss. And I did actually one coat of white. And then I just did one coat with drop cloth. I am going to put 2 coats of drop cloth on the whole piece, but the top, I only did 1 coat because you're not really going to see all that, and even if you did, it's going to add to the kind of distressed nature of this, so that's kind of what we're doing. We need to put some top coat on here, then we're going to mist the back of this, and we're going to slowly apply this without hopefully too many complications. Now, one of the advantages of this particular decoupage paper is that it already has somewhat of a distressed look. So if it's not perfect, it's not the end of the world, and we'll be okay. These foam applicators, and this I believe is the 3-inch. They have a 2.5 and a 1-inch, something like that. They have 3 different sizes that you can get. But this allows me to get in right into the container and then apply it. I wouldn't work super slow on this. All right, so I'm trying to keep moving quickly. As soon as you put this down, of course, it wants to start drying like anything else. And we'll just put a light application. Light meaning it's not crazy. And I'm gonna put this brush in my bucket and let that soak up. The next thing I'm going to do is get my misting bottle, and I'm gonna mist the back of this piece of paper. That's just gonna help give it a little bit of movement. And you know, you could try and get the wrinkles out, but it just makes it a little bit more pliable and almost like, I don't know how to better describe it, but it's wetter now than what it was. I'm gonna put a little bit more on there. It's almost like, yeah, any kind of piece of paper that you get wet, it's gonna get a little bit of better movement. Okay, so I'm gonna actually just lay this on there. I'm at the mercy of the paper, meaning I'm not trying to put this in a certain spot. If I did that, I would not be able to use the sheet of paper for both the top and the bottom. I do want it to be fairly straight. Let's see how that looks. I'm gonna come my way just a little bit. Now, of course, every time I do this, I am touching that top coat. I'm looking mainly for my paper to overhang off the edge. Now, you may watch a few people use things like plastic to, you don't want to scratch the paper, so I would watch out for anything that's a hard surface like hard plastic or anything that's sharp. And you're not trying to distress this paper, so use something that will help your hands smooth it out. So this is, what is it, plastic wrap, plastic clean, whatever the generic version is. And you can see that I'm lifting slightly just to make sure, and I'm working from the middle out. If you need to, keep that top coat near and apply a little bit, especially under the corners. But right now, I'm just looking for little wrinkles. But this decoupage paper is already distressed looking, so if I miss a spot, it's not the end of the world, but you don't want big wrinkles. You know, it's just gonna look like it's not gonna be a good result. So just lift it slightly. Remember, we missed it already. Put a coat of top coat on it. We will put top coat on top of it, but the top coat's gonna be your binder to help it stick to the surface. I'm working fairly quick. getting a little bit of wrinkles in the corners, but again, right now I'm pretty pleased with it. It's tolerable. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to put a little bit more top coat to the edge. And just make sure that we get a nice adherence, or what, think of the word there. I'm not sure, yeah, I did. I barely got that on there right. But we're just going to put a little bit more top coat on the edge. That's the least one place for sure you don't want the paper to come up. So we'll just kind of double check that. We're going to put a top coat on it, and we will be done with the top. If you really want this super durable, I would aim for at least 2 coats. You might even consider, after this dries, using gator hide instead of just normal satin top coat. But I usually put top coat down before I gator hide anyway, so. We'll let that dry, and I'm gonna keep this foam brush handy. So we're gonna be working down there, but let me just show you a little bit of what I did. First thing I did was I took 3 sheets of white typing paper. Typing paper is probably the wrong one. Who types anymore? And I cut out the template shape of that shape down there, so that I could try and get this, make sure, 1, this was going to fit, but 2, I don't really want to be super cutting down there when I can just get my transfer or my decoupage paper cut. So I've used painter's tape to tape it together and to tape it to my decoupage paper. So I want to cut this out before I apply it. So I saved that technique or step for us today to do. So give me a moment and join me as I crazily cut this out. I did tape it. The only reason I taped this paper was so it wouldn't move around on me while I'm cutting this out. So now let's take the, well, I shouldn't have to take the tape off. It should just come off. But you can see what I did for my template earlier. And I just, basically once I laid that down there, I just rubbed my paper to create the edge to know where to cut. So let's see how accurate this is. So this way doesn't fit right, so we'll go this way, and that fits much better. So I don't know, that seemed to make sense to me, better to have that, that cut out like that. So I thought, let's go with it. And that's what we're doing. Let's get this, go through the same process we did on the top. So we're going to first, I am going to first smooth this out, just make sure there's no bumps. It shouldn't be very dusty, but you can wipe it off with a rag if you want to. And we're going to use this foam brush again to apply. Let's mist the back of this sheet, get this nice and wet. Wet may be the wrong word. I tried to get this diamond in the center. It's going to be a little off center, but that's okay. I have a feeling I need to go the other way. Do my best not to get in y'all's way here. Again, now that it's wet, gotta make sure I'm going the right direction. So all these inside cuts I did not want to do after the paper was on. That's really what we're trying to do here now. So I'm going to go from one end to the other. Just checking general fit. All right, it's a little extra down here, but I think I can live with that. We're gonna use our plastic wrap again, and I'm gonna work out from the middle out. That top coat should still be wet enough to allow me to do this. This is where I'm going to get that foam brush. You can kind of feel sometimes when the paper lifts up really easily that maybe you didn't get enough top coat there. So now's a good time to apply that and make sure it sticks really good. So just kind of check some of your areas. So this is a brand new X-Acto knife blade. You could also use a retractable knife. And the idea is that I'm just going to run it along this edge. And, but I would rather do it with a really sharp, brand new X-Acto knife blade. And I don't need it to dry to do that, but the goal here is to get a nice, clean, straight edge. So run your blade along the edge. This is working really good. It's because it's a brand new blade. So that did pretty good. There are some areas to clean up. The nicer your blade, the smoother your hand, all those things will affect the result. The other option you can do is, instead of cutting on the outside, if you can know where the edge is, you could cut on top and cut a shorter cut and cut a longer cut. It just depends on what you want to do. I think either way, you just got to find where to work with your hand, if you're steady, or with your tools, whatever you might have. What I'm talking about is a straight edge, and then put the straight edge literally like right on the edge. My top coat's still a little wet, so it may not be a good time to do it. But you could run your knife on the top instead of down the side. I wouldn't do this unless I had a brand new blade. So that's another way of doing it. Third, as I mentioned before, is make sure you is waiting till everything's dry. And then things are crisp and clean. You can see I'm peeling off a little bit of that extra. I'm peeling off that hairline of a trim I just did. Okay, and if you have to, it's not the end of the world if you have to come back in with a small brush and put some top coat in where you need it to. So yeah, that's a little bit of what I'll be doing, cleaning things up, especially even down below. But yeah, hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea how to apply Dixie Belle's. They call it premium decoupage rice paper. And again, this is the ancient Marrakesh design. I love the size. It's 22.83 by 33.3. So it gives you a lot of space, especially for the front of a project. Like I said, short and sweet tonight. All right, I'm Aaron here in the Bowtie Treasure Studio. Thanks so much for watching. And until next time, I'll see y'all later. Y'all take care.
That's the end of the show. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell before you go. Bye.